Hello, everybody! If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Joining me, as always, is my co-host Tom. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Hello, friends.
No, we weren't. No, this wasn't Tom's fault. Why we're a few minutes late. We were late because I was testing the sound in many different ways to hopefully make sure it's right this time. So we'll see. This is the best I can do, folks. I balanced everything. I looked at the levels. I pre-recorded myself. This is it. We've reached peak ability of me to do this sound. So, anyways,
Yeah. Your audio is pretty terrible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
It sounds fine to me. I on the recording.
Okay.
So maybe you should get better sound. I don't know. I think it's your sound system. That's what I think, Tom.
I think your mouth is too close to your mic, wherever your mic is.
Gotcha. Oh, now I'm a little loud. I love it. I can't win. At any rate, that's fine. There we go. We'll see if that helps. Okay, so we're doing the Thanksgiving episode today, which means we play our classic game. We've done it every year, thanky or janky, where we look back at the year's releases and we determine who is what we're thankful for and what's a janky. So there we go. But first off, the news.
Rumor engine. How about that rumor engine?
Yeah, let's talk about this rumor engine. So, when I first looked at it, okay, cool. They said just right now. All right, I'm going to lock in this setting. We'll see where it's at. Okay. Great. I will never change it again.
Never.
At any rate, when I first looked at this rumor engine, admittedly, I didn't know what it was. And then I believe I think it was in our chat, I think it was Konstantinos who said this, but I believe he's the one who cracked the code on this.
Right?
No. This is IDK. It's 100% IDK. I'm going to prove it to you right now. Here's the rumor engine. You ready?
Yep.
Here's the back of the Achillean King. So, you can see that they are quite literally the exact same sword with the exact same design and the exact same flourish. So it is. I'll flip back and forth again. Here's the new one. It has a little like swoopy loop, but otherwise, it's absolutely an IDK sword. So here's my. You want my guess, Tom?
Sure.
Okay. When we got the Nurgle book,
Yep.
we got a new Rotbringer sorcerer, right?
Yep.
Okay. My guess is IDK are due for a new book. I don't think that's right. That doesn't feel like a long shot call. Right. They are, with the release of Nurgle, they will be the oldest book. Right?
Yep.
Okay. So it's logical to think that when they release the book, they'll probably do, at minimum, the same thing they did with Nurgle and, like, give us a new character or something like that. And the fact that it's like an Achillean weapon tells me maybe we're getting a new Achillean guy with that book release. That's my guess, right? It feels like such a slam dunk.
Like, you think it'll be another Achillean, like, mounted guy, or do you think it'll be a guy on foot?
It might be a foot dude, right? Like, maybe it'll actually just be a foot hero. They don't have an Achillean foot hero like that, right?
Or could it be a Underworld's warband?
Could be, sure. 100% yes. But, like, my feeling is, when I say that kind of foot hero, I'm aware of all their, like, Soul Scryer people and things like that. I mean, like, sort of a martial combatant foot hero, right? Like an Achillean leader. Yeah, Efren in the chat just said Achillean prince. Yeah, exactly. That's such a good call. Like, a foot Achillean prince. Right?
Yeah, and as somebody else pointed out, there's been some rumors floating around of like an IDK versus Fire Slayer box, like a fire and water.
Could be. It's a weird box. I
It
mean,
would be
like,
a weird box.
I don't know how often they've done order on order fights, but sure.
But simply what I'm acknowledging is that like we had rumors potentially of just a single model coming for Fire Slayers.
Mm-hmm.
And this would actually, like, that would make sense if it was single models for both.
Yeah, if they did the old double Battle Force box, one new hero in each box, a la, every time we get one of these boxes. Sure.
Yep.
Also seems a possibility. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, that would
Yeah.
that like I could see either one of those. Sure. Those would be the and yeah, I like a new foot type hero a la the Lord of Pain when they did the Slanesh box, or
Yep.
the new Melusai Iron Scale or whatever, right? Like that it's such an easy spot to fill. It's a relatively I'm not meaning to demean the sculptors. They do amazing work. I really like both of those. But like, it's not a huge ask, right? My point is you're not sculpting like an Archeon or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's probably a reasonably controlled sculpt, easy to then clamp back up a couple months later, bing bang boom, popcorn, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. I'm in.
Yep.
That's neat.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, like IDK feel like they should be, if not the next book, like coming soon. One of the next books. So yes. Cool. All right. What else we got?
Dragons.
Dragons, baby. It's time. We're finally here. We're gonna talk about that later in the show. I went and dated some stuff. Just so you understand, Tom, to put together the presentation that I did for our show tonight to review the year.
It was impressive.
Oh, thank you. It's really not. But at any rate, the thing about it was I had to go back all the way to the beginning of the year on Warhammer Community, which is the most annoying thing in the universe because you have to hit load more posts. I sat there and literally for 15 minutes was watching something else and just hitting page down, click, page down, click, page down, click. Like I just took forever. But anyways, so I actually traced the history of these dragons. But they're here finally. They're finally on pre-order next weekend, and I couldn't be more excited about it. I am stoked.
6 months later.
It's just so close. So close. And there's something else to do with the dragons, Tom. A little bit of other news. Yes, they're coming on pre-order, but also they got a points change before they came out.
They did.
They did.
And it was right in line with what you wanted, right?
It was, basically exactly where I was thinking they should be. So to lay this out for everybody, the individual hero went from 255 to 300. The Draconis Guard, so the 2 pack that becomes battle line if you use the Knight Draconis as your general, went from 285 to 340, so 55-point increase there. And the single guy who you can only use if you build the Knight Draconis or whatever. That would be that's 170 now. Basically exactly the half price of the 2. I was super thrilled to see it. I want to take a moment here to really say I am thoroughly 100% completely behind this change. I saw Rob was taking credit for it. Rob, you don't get that credit. We're taking credit for it. I'm the one who specifically called for them to change the points before the release. We've been on that train. You were just complaining about dragons, Rob. I love you, but that's all you did was complain. I brought solutions to the table, and they went with my solution. So I'm taking credit for this one here on Warhammer Weekly. You're welcome. No, I mean, I'm glad they did that. It's a fantastic change. It's exactly what should have happened. They did it before they released the models, so no one bought anything under any kind of, operating under any misconceptions.
Yep.
So
the only people who bought things under misconceptions were those that bought third party.
Sure. Which, whatever. Then you probably 3D printed it and you didn't spend that much money anyway. So you're probably good. So I really like these point changes. Maybe they're enough. Maybe they're not. I saw some people saying maybe they're too much. Not enough. I apologize. Maybe that's true. But they were pretty big, and I think that's the right place to start. Let's not go too ham. If there's still a problem, great, then we can still fix it, right? That's fine. Let's be a little conservative, as we have with all points changes, so we don't completely train wreck a unit. We don't want another KO situation on our hands.
Right.
That's it. Like, this community got burnt real hard by the first Tzeentch change and the first KO change. They were way too strong, way too hard, and they ruined those two armies for a significant period of time. And I don't want to see that happen again. I don't want to see somebody's toys be suddenly shelf worthy. That's really unfortunate. So let's step this up. But A plus GW, fantastic work. I tweeted about it on the day. I can't support this more. This is how business should be conducted. It was perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, way to like be on point, right?
Yeah.
And get ahead of it and acknowledge the issue and make the changes. And like it's fantastic. And sure, maybe the points could go up, maybe they could go down. I don't know. We can play with it at this point, but they're way more reasonable than they were.
Yeah, the internal balance is back in line, right? Now,
right.
To show the other side of the coin, okay, the better way to do this, guys, speaking to you, GW, here directly now, right, is don't let these broken things out of the gate to begin with. That's an even better way. Like, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So hopefully the new developers, I understand these books were all in progress long before these new developers were actually working. Like, remember, these books were probably written 6 to 12 months ago. At least, if not longer. Given now, probably 12 to 15 months ago. We're talking about the Stormcast book. Let's just go ahead and not do that anymore. Let's just put it out. Let's go first time final. How about that? That's what we want to go closer to.
That's such an easy solution, Ben.
I know, right? There it is. Well, they listened to me the first time, so now maybe they'll get on board with this one. That's ultimately, of course, what it should be. But barring that, this was a great move, and I fully support it. I'm very happy they did it. Wonderful. Great.
Don't let him bully you, GW. You do you. If you want to release books hot off the presses like that, it's fine.
You're just hoping for something broken in the Nurgle book. That's all you want.
I am so hoping for something Nurgle.
All right. What else we got?
Let's do how about no more Nazis?
Yeah, sure. GW put out a statement at the end of the week. This doesn't seem controversial. This should not be controversial, but basically saying, if you show up to our events wearing that kind of iconography and those symbols of, fascist hate regimes, you will be asked to leave and will not be playing in those events.
You know what I appreciated though?
What's that?
Was in their article, like in the write-up that they did, that they actually they highlighted the satirical nature of 40K.
Sure. Yeah, that there are no good guys. Right.
That there are no good guys. And and just highlighting that like satire can take a bunch of different forms, and one is just extreme to the point of ridiculousness. Right?
Right.
And that's what they're doing with 40K. And I just appreciated hey, this isn't something to celebrate.
Yeah, I agree completely. It was a great article, a great post. I mean, it's a pretty low bar of don't be a Nazi. That feels like a pretty low bar. But apparently sometimes we have some challenges clearing it, at least on one side of this house. But yeah, don't do that. So thumbs up, good message. It's the game, as they said, the game is often fueled by hate, right? But of course, the company and the community should not be. So there you go. All completely reasonable. So there you go. I'm good with it. At any rate, good message.
I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Luckily, we don't get as much of that over here in AOS.
No.
So that's encouraging.
Sure.
And then finally, Honest Wargamer scoring app.
Yeah. So, this was pretty cool. So Rob put this up today, which was I'm excited for it. Now it's It's only available for Android right now, but super cool. It's basically an app that lets you like keep track and score in the game to help you remember everything. And I thought that was pretty cool of an idea. I hope he does port it over to Apple soon. So it's iPhone and stuff capable. Right now, it's in the Google Play Store or whatever for Android, or anything that uses the Google Play Store, I guess. But yeah, if you watch the episode, I'll link to the episode down in the description so you can go see him. He walks through it. It's a super cool idea because it not only can you track that stuff, keep track of scoring and things like that, but then it just becomes an easy way to have a record of your games, right? So you yourself can look back. This is what's really nice about it, right? I think that it's easy to go, well, I don't really have a problem with remembering stuff. Right, exactly. Yes, thank you. Perfect, Tom. It becomes a journal, right? And tracking your games can only help you like learn and improve and become a better gamer. So that's awesome. So yeah, cool stuff.
So I'm excited. We have one more news item that's not on the list, and that news item is that yesterday, Vince, you had a birthday.
I did. Yes. Yes.
So everybody, say happy birthday in the chat because Vince is now older. 1 year closer to that.
That is also true. 13 years left, Tom. I'm good.
Good. Well, we'll have to make these 13 years count.
That's right. That's like we got at least 13 more years of shows, so we're good to go. Thank you very much, Tom. That was very nice. I had a nice birthday, so it was good. And thank you everybody who wished me well over on social media and stuff like that. I appreciate it very much. I had a very nice birthday. The age I am now is the age that is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So there you go.
Indeed. There's no singing here. That's not something I do.
No, please don't. We don't want to lose viewers that quickly.
Nope.
Either of us singing is not a way to get more viewers watching this show.
Nope. I know what I'm good at. That's not it.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Anything else in the news there, Tom?
No, I think we're good.
All right, let's do some pick of the week. But before we do, that's right. There is one other thing. I didn't put it in there. I'm sorry, Tom. That's my fault. I missed it. Yeah, somebody just mentioned it in the chat, and I can't believe I was going to skip it. That's my fault for not putting in the news. I apologize, Tom. I let you down. But I went and grabbed this after I updated the news items. Battle Force boxes, of course, buddy. That was the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Battle Force boxes of the Soulblight Gravelords, Slaanesh, the Lumineth, and the Bone Daddies. What did you think of these?
It's funny. Like I'm tinkering around with Lumineth, right? And I looked at that box and I was like, nah.
Sure.
But I saw that Soulblight Gravelord.
How good is that Soulblight box, right? It's pretty good.
Like, well, I have Cursed City. That means I have like 10 skeletons and 10 zombies.
You've got Gorslav ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and I was like, man, buy me one of these box. Get me Granny on a wolf and some dire wolves, and I'm good to go.
Yep. It's funny because I don't know if you remember me telling you this, but Uncle Adam recently came into possession of like almost 1,000 points of Bone Daddies accidentally.
Yeah.
Okay. And as soon as this box came out, I texted him. And I was like, dude, there you go. Another 1,000 points. You got a full army. You're ready to rock and roll. There you go. Right there. And he was not amused. He's not an army guy. But, Tom, you might be asking, but Vince, how much are these of a deal? Well, I shamelessly stole this presentation from Heywo, who ripped it from Bella Lost Souls. Thank you to SJ Arcade, who took this. So, it's just a stealing fest over here. But you might be asking, hey, these Battle Force boxes, how good of a deal are they? Well, we don't know the price yet, but we know historically they've had a 30 to 35% discount, right? You and I have went and calced this every year, and we've always seen a 30 to 35% discount. Okay, So thank you to Heywo, SG Arcade, and I don't no thank you to Bella Lost Souls. I'm not going to thank them. All right, so let's talk about the Sybarite Blade Carnival. This is the most points, by the by.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
When the entire army's like 30% overpointed, it is really easy to get to the highest point value with the lowest actual value.
Sure, checks out.
So this is in USD, so it's $315. All right, is how much this is. So if we assume a standard sort of 30% off or something like that, right? Then you're talking about probably in the 230, 240 range, 250, somewhere in there.
Yeah, there's no way. Like, these boxes, I can't imagine they're going to be more than 210. Because we haven't ever seen, let me say this, we've never seen a Battle Force box over 210. Normally they're 180 or 185.
Also, I just want to, I shout out to both John and Maniac who are in the chat. Don't worry, don't Scott, don't let John beat you up about that. You play your game and you enjoy yourself. I'm just glad, Scott, that you found your inner tournament player. He's I don't know if you know Tom, but Scott is now a hardcore tournament player. He's going. I'm trying to lure him over to AOS events too. He's got a taste for it now. He's tasted blood. He's like yourself. He got into that tournament, started tasting blood. Now he's just all about it. At any rate, the Slaanesh one. The funny part about this one is that it's bad. It's super bad. It's so terrible. Yep. Like, I don't even know what to do with it. Like, this army's so not good right now as far as overcosted goes. Like, if this box comes out and we get new points in December, which we've said, they also, in the update for the Dragons, they said they're going to do a December balance update exactly like what they did for 40K, which is fantastic. Okay, great. Sure. I can't wait to see it. Hopefully we get, like, they changed rules and stuff there, man.
Yeah, I know.
And we're going to do a prediction show in the future about that.
Sure.
But at any rate, if this whole thing drops by, let's assume they actually make the necessary Slaanesh points adjustments and knock everything down by 20-30%, suddenly you're just not getting enough out of this box, and it's going to be a bad deal for the cost. It's just a lose-lose.
Yeah.
But obviously, this is the only way they can move all those excess Slangor, so, that's fine.
Right. I mean, nobody's buying those.
No. But, the Seekers are good, so that's cool.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah, yay. Next one.
Next one. No. Venari, Shining Host. This is $320 retail. This is the least points, Tom.
Also, doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, sure. So you got your 5 Dawn Riders, your Ballisti, your 5 Blade Wardens, your leader guy. I will say it's more points if you build the leader guy as the unique character than if you build him as the generic hero. I mean, whatever. I'm just saying, like, that can affect the points, right? 10 Wardens and then Bannerman.
It's like they looked at the book and they're like, what are all the units that people are not playing?
I disagree, man. I disagree. This is one of my favorite boxes. This should be your favorite box, too. Because this is just like the High Elf box. This is the High Elf box. There's a High Elf Bolt Thrower. There's the Banner of the World Dragon. There's their mounted hero guy, who's very Venari. He's like Tyrion's right-hand man. He's lieutenant. You got 10 Wardens, 5 Blade Wardens, new Sword Masters, and then you got new horsey guys, new Silver Helms or whatever.
I mean, so in full disclosure, like, I literally just bought the horsey guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's being shipped to me right now. And I have 2 collector's boxes, which is all the Wardens and horsies that I need. Right? And so, like, I look at this and it's like 5 of the Blade Wardens, the Ballista, which I'm not going to field over Sentinels, and the Banner of the World Dragon guy, which is okay.
Yeah, he's interesting.
Right. And so, like, I just looked at, like, there just wasn't enough, like, of real value here for me, especially because I had the collectors, but 2 of the collector's boxes.
Yeah, which makes sense, because it's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah.
I get that. That's fair. But yeah, this one's $320, so we would assume the same thing, right? If you take about $90 off of that, a little more than, right, you come down to like $230, something like that, maybe. So to 210 to 230 is where we'd imagine this would.
So what? Okay, continue. Yeah.
Yep. Next up, Bone Daddies with the Mortis and Tithe Echelon. I like this box, man. If you're a aspiring Bone Daddy player, I think this is a pretty good box. 20 more tech, catapult, harvester, 3 of the big boys that can be, either the guard or the other ones, the Soul Reaper, the Bone Shaper. Yeah, it's kind of what you would want. The catapult's value in current meta is a little questionable, admittedly. But I like everything. But it's not bad to have.
You're going to want the model, regardless.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going to want one because that swings and roundabouts, man. That catapult will be good again at some point.
It's like the Black Coach, right, in Night Haunt. Like, if you have the army, you ought to have a Black Coach. Yep. Like, even if you don't field it, like I would field it, but you ought to have it.
Yep. Like, I quite like this one. I think it gives you I like that you get both of the characters that are cool. One of my favorite model in the range comes in this box.
Yep. And how many total points is this?
This one is the second highest points. It's about 1,000 points, a little more than, depending on how you build stuff.
Adam, dude, it's right here.
That's what I'm saying.
Is the rest of your army? It's right here. Exactly.
He's at 1,000 points. This is the second 1,000 points. Uncle Adam, come on, man.
Right. Including the hero that you want.
Exactly. It's right there. This is the exact hero we were talking about with him at Holy Havoc. Yes.
Hey, GW, why don't you send Uncle Adam one of these boxes to do an unboxing?
I agree. Surprise him. This should be his Christmas present. GW should do a Christmas present just for him to force him to do a 2K army. All right.
Because he has 1K and he's like, I don't want to buy anymore. But this would actually make him have a full AOS army.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him one way or another. We're gonna snag him in there.
GW, get on it. Just send Uncle Adam this box. It's good PR. He has a big channel, and then he'd have a 2K army. He has literally no excuse to not play the game.
I agree. All right, last one. The Revenant Legion, saving the best for last. The Soulblight Gravelords. This is third on points, whatever. But it's only 290 in retail, but I actually like it the best. I don't know if it will be markedly cheaper than the other ones.
Do you know what's so magical about it?
It has everything that you I actually like about this army in one box. There's no units in here I don't like.
And they're all brand new models.
Yeah, yes, everything in here is new. Exactly.
The other ranges, and we're going to talk about this, with the launch of the new books, this is a new book with new models, and it's all the new models. That's the problem with the LRL and OBR and, Slanesh, but nobody really cares about that. The reality is that, it's just such a good value. Good night.
Yeah, if this one, right, because there's no fat in this, right? Right. Blood Knight's good. The skeletons, good. The zombies, great, right? Especially since you're getting a big old horde of zombies. Vengorian Lord, solid as. This is a great base to an SBG army, as we discussed on the SBG show, right? I'm not gonna lie, this box actually tempted me because
I put it in an order for it. I'm on a wait list because.
Yeah, sure.
It's just here's the reality. I had no plans, 0 plans to start a Soulblight Gravelords army.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw this box and I went, you know what? I'll buy it and put it on the shelf. And if I change my mind in the next 12 months, I have the rest of my army.
Yep. Yeah, I recently came into possession of a Chattakar the Beast. I've sort of accidentally been building Soulblight models incidentally. Every so often I already have a couple hundred points of Soulblight. So, oops.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to paint my Cursed City, and I saw this, and I was like, oh, that's an easy jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I already have a bunch of pieces in there that I would use, and yeah.
Yep. I like Haywo's take, which is give the skeletons 2-handers and then their Graveguard. Now you're really set. It's just that's ramping this box up to 1 million. It's because who wants the old Graveguard sculpts? Just put a big 2-handed pike in their hands, done and dusted.
So, funny story. I actually have a bunch of bits of the two-handed weapons for Graveyard.
Sure.
Like, because I was going to use them for my Tomb Kings at one point in time to do, like, conversions for stuff. But now, man, like, oof, so good.
Yep. So there you go. That's the Battle Force boxes. Thank you again to SJ Arcade. I know he's in the chat. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated for you putting this together. As soon as I was watching Haywo's stream and he was reviewing this, I was like, "Yo, dog, let me steal that. You're gonna save me a lot of time and effort." So I appreciate that. All right. So that's the Battle Force boxes. Cool beans. Thus brings us the end of the news. Okay. Well, as we go to the pick of the week, don't forget you out there to hit like and subscribe and do all those fun things. Click buttons. They're all over your screen. Just start clicking things. You'll probably hit a good one. Just see what happens, you know? All right. So, Tom, what's your pick of the week, buddy?
Honest Wargamer. Rob did a show a day ago on wish listing the FAQ and balanced data slate. And so he was doing some AOS 3rd edition conversations on the new stuff, and I appreciated it. And so, you know, Vince, he said we're going to do a wish list show.
Mm-hmm.
They started some of that conversation, and it's worth revving your engine and watching that show.
I agree. It was a great episode. I will link it down below. My pick of the week is... By the way, somebody asked, are we going to talk about the Nurgle leaks and stuff? No, just because we don't have any context for them. And I hate discussing that stuff in partial when you don't know, like, the total points or the changes that are around it or stuff like that. It just gets you excited to go in the wrong direction. So, you know, my answer is, don't worry, we're going to devote a lot of time to Nurgle, but I never like touching the little individual pieces. Yes, there are leaks out there. You can build a whole house of cards assumption around it, and then something is different, and oops, now you're disappointed.
If you really want to know the leaks, go dig in the darkest corners of the internet, and you can read about them.
Right,
so
like it's just
like that's.
But without context, like you see this, but you don't know the special rules, or you see the rules, but you don't know the points, or whatever, you know, and it's just like it just sets you up for disappointment. So, anyways, okay,
completely agreed.
So the we'll re-click it, Coach. Not that button. My pick of the week is going to be our good buddy 2+ Tough Doug, who was, of course, at Holy Havoc, along with Rerolling One's Jack. We got to play against them twice, actually. And Doug did a whole video recapping Holy Havoc, talking about all his games, about the event, showing some of the tables. Steve obviously runs one of the best events in the country. It's amazing. I truly like. It is an event I look forward to. The Holy Wars and Holy Havoc. I look forward to both those events for all the months leading up to them. And if you ever get a chance to go, you absolutely should. And Doug's video really shows you just how amazing it is, because he really shows a lot of the tables and the games and stuff like that. And I'll be very excited to see Doug and Jack coming back. So that's my pick of the week. Links in the description as always. All right. So, quick enough. Let's talk about hobby time. Tom, you been working on anything? What's been on your table, buddy?
I have grinded away my Hammer Whirlwind, and I'm waiting for my next box of goodies.
Okay.
And I built a couple Wardens. Man, those pikes are long.
They are very long, yes. As somebody who regularly plays against Lumineth or with a Lumineth partner, yep.
Yeah, they're just so long. And so I've been working on those. I may be coming down to visit you in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And so I might do some hobbying on some Night Haunt as well.
I don't want to hear a may, by the way. You are coming down to visit me in a couple weeks. I'll see you then. There's no optionality to it. Get rid of,
so I may
banish that.
Try to get some of my Night Haunt playable. I don't know. We'll see.
Nice. Awesome.
Larger force.
Couple of quick questions. Do we think that the Nurgle or the Winter FAQ will come first next month? Good question. I'm going to say Nurgle.
Yeah, I think Nurgle probably as well.
Yeah.
Just because the FAQ has like a history.
I think they'll sneak that out at the end of the year. Like, it'll be in the last sort of week.
Well, I mean,
They'll hit publish and then leave for Christmas break.
we'll see.
Sure.
Like when we revisit the calendar of this year, this is why you're going to hear me say we'll see.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
One of them makes the money. One of them does not.
Sure. Okay. For my hobby time, I've been working on a bunch of stuff. I finished up my very big project, which I can't talk about, but you'll probably see sometime soon. And I'm continuing now to work on my Ratcast. I'm working on my third Fulminator. He's coming along. Still a lot of hours to go on these guys. These Fulminators are like 25 plus hours each. So they're very exhausting. I can guarantee you I will never have more than 4 of those things. So thumbs up there. But I'm making progress, Tom. I'm making progress. I'm pushing my way towards 2,000 points. That's the goal. Gotta be. I only have to have 1,500 by February, and then 2,000 by 2,000 by NashCon. Also, Tom, I want you to know that I started getting in stuff for the new display board.
Oh, did you?
Oh, I did. I have not forgotten. So,
no, I know.
A display board I'm actually excited about making. That's right.
Yeah. Hey, folks, you heard it here first.
That's right. So, anyways.
You thought our last city was it.
Yeah, just wait till this. This is going to be truly ridiculous. Which is what we're here for. Okay. So, yeah, that's hobby time. My plan over this holiday weekend, I'll be completely honest with you, Tom, is to sit down and paint. And if I can put in 40 hours or 50 hours over the weekend, I might get 2 models done, which would be exciting. That'd be great. Okay. Tom, are you ready to do our annual look back at the year? Our Thanksgiving spectacular. He is. He's ready. He's also typing a comment. There it is.
I am. No, I just found out, Vince, there's an event in Columbus.
Yes, I know. It's coming up soon.
Yeah, it was the week before Holy Wars.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I'll see what I can do, Chris.
Yes, it's going to be on our events list next time we have, because it got shouted out. It is just to know, next time Tyler updates the events list, he's going to send that to me, and it will be on there. We're going to promote that up, because, hometown event, so, of course,
Totally.
want to see that explode. All right. So for those who might not have been with us in previous years, first of all, Thanksgiving is a thing that we celebrate here in the U.S., so that's a thing. It's a holiday here. I know Canada has one too. They have a different source for theirs. Theirs is some kind, like the source for theirs is some kind of meal eaten on a ship in like the 1500s, setting sail for Newfoundland, I think.
Cool.
This is the 400th anniversary of our Thanksgiving, the sort of treaty signing, as it were, between the Native American tribe and the U.S. Settlers who were there in New England somewhere. Anyways, at Thanksgiving, it's a big excuse to get together with your family and overeat a lot of food. That's what it is. And it's a time for taking stock and giving thanks and looking back at the year. And that's why we invented our patented game, trademark, patent pending, thanky or janky. So, we're going to look at all the releases from this year, and we're going to say, are they a thanky? In other words, we're thankful for them. Or are they a janky? And it was kind of a... Right. That's what we're going to do. So thanky or janky. And we want your votes in the chat, in the comments. If you're watching this later, drop it in the comments. If you're watching it now, I want to see what you think. Do you vote thanky or janky for each one of these things? So... And by the way, special shout out to Strength Hammer for making this wonderful image of Sigmar enjoying his delicious Thanksgiving dinner.
It's amazing.
A+ Photoshop skills. Okay. All right. So, for everybody else in the world, hey, I know it's just a random Wednesday in November, but, look, it's still a reason to look back. All right. You're welcome to participate in our giving thanks. Let's start at the beginning. Let's start in January 2021. Tom, do you know it's the end of November 2021? Let me just start there.
I do, in fact.
Yeah. That feels not real.
It's been an auspicious year for me.
Sure. A lot of changes. A lot going on.
Yeah.
So, but cast our mind back, Tom, to January 2021. We thought, there was a different sort of mindset. It seems as though the last 18 months have been 7 years and also all of time and also 3 weeks. But January, there we were. There he is, the man himself, the honest wargamer, who was out in front of the studio with his sign saying release the AOS FAQ, and in fact that is basically the only thing we got in January, which was the FAQ.
I feel like we do this every year though.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do. It's a recurring segment. But what do you mean by that?
No, I'm saying release the January FAQ. Like that, this last January was not the first time that this happened.
I couldn't tell you.
We found ourselves waiting for the mid-year update.
My memory only goes back, Tom, to the beginning of the year. Before that, it was all nothing. It's just gray mist.
Sure. Hence my prediction that the Nurgle book will come before this.
Sure.
Our mid-year update.
So, Tom, what was in the January FAQ?
I don't know.
Exactly. Which is why the January FAQ has to be a janky, right? It was janky. We didn't make any changes. It was minimal stuff, a few tiny little changes that basically amounted to nothing. Very minimal points moves. It was the obvious, we're not changing anything because the new edition is coming and we're not going to invest in this.
Didn't they update something about Marathi's weapon or spear for the Shadow Queen?
I mean, this begins part of the glorious ongoing saga of the trees and Marathi's spear and all that, sure. But right. Of how much rend does Heartrender rend if the Heartrender could rend hearts? Yes. But, for the most part, this FAQ was completely forgettable. I mean, is there any way this thing wasn't anything other than janky?
No.
They should have just put up a note, because they said at the time, we don't have enough data. No, you just don't want to invest the time in it because you're all busy working on 3.0, right?
Right.
That's what was actually happening.
Right, which, that's very common, by the way, for those that follow game systems. On updates, on that back end, on those 6 months leading up, you're just not getting a lot.
Which is fine. Just that the problem here was they weren't honest with it, right? It was just, it was nothing.
Well,
it was a big nothing.
Were. If you go back and watch our shows, I was like, warning, new editions coming in the summer.
Right. Yep. Okay. So, January FAQ, I think it's a universal vote for janky, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. But then, of course, we left behind the deep winter of January. We all popped up out of our little hole to see if we spotted our shadow as February dawned and told us that there would be 6 more weeks of winter. Chris, yes, it was before they announced 3.0, but it was obvious that's what was coming. I mean, you could read the tea leaves.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
We've been saying it for a year.
Right. The February, I just saw Stormkeep's comment. February brought us 2 books, Tom. 2 books.
Yep. There were 2 books.
Mm-hmm. And the associated 2-player battle box we mentioned earlier, right?
Yep. I have that one downstairs too.
Sure. Of Slaanesh versus the Daughters of Cain.
Yeah.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Okay?
Yep.
This is I literally, for the show where we reviewed this piece of news, I just went and prepared the entire monologue from A Tale of Two Cities from the opening because it was so appropriate. We have had distinctions in books before, right? where the two books had like distinct quality differences.
Like disparity, like Zinch and KO when that double box dropped.
Zinch and KO. I would also point to Ogres and to Maw Tribes and Bone Daddies, right? Okay.
Yeah. Although like Ogres were still good, they weren't Bone Daddies.
I look, and here's the thing, KO was still like whatever of those. There's no way you can convince me the delta between any of those past disparities is as large as these two books.
Yeah.
It is madness. Madness how far apart these are and still remain, right?
Yep. Yeah.
10 months later.
Yep.
I do agree that if you are a masochist, then you would definitely say thanky for the Slaanesh book because you had to love pain. It was the most meta book release ever. I think I've made my opinion clear on this. The Slaanesh book is a hardcore janky. There's no question in my mind about that. I'm going to go ahead and say the Daughters of Cain book, even though I want to make it a janky because everything was so drastically underpointed, and that did get corrected to some degree, I'm still going to call it a thanky because I think it had a lot of good ideas in it. Like, ultimately, points were a big problem, but I think the book was still good. Whereas I think the design and the points of Slaanesh are both wrong. Like, everything's wrong. No. Top to bottom. Bin it.
I like, yes, Slaanesh is janky. Like, the problem that I have is when I think through all of the Daughters book.
Sure.
Like, I think about the change to, like, Crate.
Yep, sure. The missed opportunities is what you're saying?
Yeah, the missed opportunities where they, like, pigeonholed some things into weird, small corners. Where you have to run Sisters of Slaughter now, and if you have, like, 180 Metal Witch Elves, you're screwed. I just...
For the one person in the world who that matters for, yes.
Yeah. And it gave us the power differential of like double shooting snakes.
Yep, it did. It gave us Morathian the Bow Snakes, everybody's new favorite early 80s new wave band.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's janky.
Okay. I get that.
And for me, because it only gave us like meta armies. Like, when was the last time you saw a Daughters list that wasn't Bow Snakes?
I get it happens, but you're right. Like, I would be pointing to the exception that proves the rule.
Right. Like, because that's the point. Like, it's basically like Hermdar design for Fireside.
Yep.
And that's not a good book.
Are the Autumn Lotus said, are the Harpies good? They seem consistently ignored. Yes, they're super good, actually.
Yeah,
both. Like the Life Takers are great. Most lists, even if it's Morathi and the Bow Snakes, almost all lists will use some Harpies because things like Life Takers or the Heartrend, the other ones, the shooty ones. Actually, both are balanced really interestingly against each other as to what they can do.
Our Heartrenders are the shooty ones.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, but then I'm like, did they really name Morathi's weapon and the unit the same thing? And apparently the answer is yes.
Yes, they did. I'm gonna say janky because again, it did the book that what was created was not a playable diverse book.
Okay. All right.
And so it caused one of the problems of the current meta.
Sure.
Like, that's a problem list.
It is.
So
it is. And bow snakes still aren't pointed correctly.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
so I just I can't in good, like, I have a Daughters army. Since this book dropped, I haven't pulled it off the shelf. Sure. I won't do it. Sure.
Yeah, bow snakes still clearly need some kind of adjustment. And the problem is I don't disagree with your point at all. Yeah. In that it has sort of created this Hermdar-like problem where it's warped everything to, like, the shooting power you get out of long-range shooting mortal wounds out of a unit of 15 bow snakes is so powerful, it just overwhelms everything else, right?
Right.
So I get that. I do. To me, I think that's still, like, I don't disagree with that problem. Completely agree with everything you've said. Okay? But my ultimate argument would be this is still a 51% thanky book, because I do still think there was more good than bad in here. Most of the sub-factions are interesting and have some play. Again, if we like, and I understand this is a big if the bow snakes were to be more expensive, like they should be, or something like that, or they didn't have ranged mortals or whatever, there's a whole conversation that needs to be had around ranged mortal shooting, by the by. That's for a different show.
Do you remember what kit released with the book?
Yeah, the Melusite Iron Scale.
And what else?
That's it.
Do you remember they got endless spells?
Oh, they did get endless spells. That's right. I did forget about those. I mean, it's whatever. I don't ever think about endless spells, so.
But that's my point. Like, it didn't do anything.
Yeah, but if we were going to hold that against books, most books would be a failure on that regard, because almost all book endless spells are trash. Like, I'm not defending that as a good thing. I'm just saying, like, if you open that door, you immediately have to janky every book. Even books we all clearly enjoy.
My point is that, like, it's another strike against it. Like, you literally forgot one of the 2 kits that released.
I mean, you've got me dead to rights on that. I can't argue with it, right? But, like, I think that's just more of a thing of endless spells are pretty much garbage, which I'm not sure I hate, by the way. I think that's probably okay.
But I hear what you're saying.
Right. Like, I like them being kind of a fun thing, not a super competitive thing. But whatever. That we could have discussions there. They tend to be very much walking the tightrope of never used or just ridiculously too good. Because they're an immortal unit, effectively, that you can just keep summoning, and if you have the right spell dom, you can power it out. But anyways, I get it. I'm not gonna go against your call that it's a janky book. It was horrendously underpointed. I don't think we can even begin to encapsulate how underpointed it was.
And notice, I haven't even talked about the underpointing.
I get it. Yep. Nope. I'm not sure we have yet. Ish.
We fixed it.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, to put this in perspective, at the changeover in the new GHB, Doc had the second highest overall average point increases. Like, if you totaled everything. Now, that can be somewhat misleading, because there can be weird swings and roundabouts that skew the averages, right? But they were about 20%, which the actual overall average was 8%, just to recontextualize that for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And they're still cheap as chips for a lot of units.
Right. Let me also throw in my 2 cents. Brent reminded me he picked at the scab and re-agitated the old wound. They didn't do War Scroll cards for the Daughters of Cain for some reason, even though Knights of Slaanesh got them, and every other army's gotten War Scroll cards. Doc didn't get them.
They want you to craft your own in blood,
clearly,
as an appropriate sacrifice to Cain.
Clearly.
So my argument would be February was overall, like, if you were a Doc player, it was a pretty great month. There was a lot of excitement for your underpointed, overpowered book.
I remember very clearly.
But yes, in the end, like, looking back on it historically, I get your janky, I really do. And even my thanky is like 50.1%, right? Or 51%.
And again, I love the army. Like, it's one of my favorite armies. But,
as a point of fact, Tom, to back you up, I also have a Doc army, obviously, and I have a Snake army, as a matter of fact. So I was, like, primed to really do this. I've gotten since I got the book and it came out, I've played 2 games with my Doc.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a statement right there.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. Well, February broke our hearts with both Slaanesh or potentially ripped our hearts out and sacrificed them to Cain in a ritual to gain immortal godhood. But then we went into March, and March continued the madness. That's right, the March madness was on, as we got what we will now call the Lumineth debacle. I think that GW is secretly executing a truly brilliant meta plan, Tom. Okay?
Yep.
Let me explain. February. everything in the Slaanesh book is overcosted and bad. To play Slaanesh, you have to like Pain, hence its meta answer for the book. Yeah. Morathi is all about taking shortcuts to power and making sacrifices. She was the ascendant character in the narrative. Yep. Right? Yep. Okay? So hence her book was overpowered.
Yep.
Okay? The Lumineth are led by the twins, right? By Tyrion and Teclis. And so they were like, okay, because elves and think they're better than everyone. So because of that, they had to get 2 books to everyone else's 1 and create a bunch of confusion about, wait, which one is this for? Who is this? Okay?
So meta. So meta.
It's a secret meta plan, Tom. Can you not see the layers? It's all right there, man. So we got our second Lumineth book in as many months. Well, that's not true. It was in like 6 months, 7 months, something like that. And at the same time, we got Teclis, which also kind of was the new Lumineth book, but not completely. Okay.
I have so many thoughts. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I think I've said my piece, so go ahead.
I'm gonna go thanky for both of them.
Wow. That is a bold move. All right, man, go. Let's see you defend this one. Hit like to see Tom defend this one.
So, Teclis gave us Settlers Game. Which I would argue helps carve out the future of like the trajectory, right? Of these types of like cities stuff with the Lumineth stuff. I think that, like, I know this sounds weird, but I'm thankful for the fact that, like, if I didn't want to buy the Lumineth book, I could just buy Teclis.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, and
I'm not going to come down either side, buddy. This is you're the one who's got to defend this. You're out on the ledge here.
But here's the deal. Like, yes, it's confusing. Which book do I need to buy? One or the other. If you have the book, you can buy Teclis and have everything, or buy the new Lumineth book. I love that we got the Swordmasters, even though they're crap, and even though the bodyguard rules are junk now. Like, these are what I wanted, right? Their headpieces are still stupid, but I like them. The whole Wind Temple is bad for the meta and bad for the game and bad models. But I like the fact that we got the majestic cow horse that we needed a martial hero. We didn't have that previously.
Sure.
And he actually filled a real hole in the army.
Sure.
And we got the ballista, as you pointed out. We got the Banner of the World Dragon. So we got a lot of neat contributions to the army. Even, like, again, just throw the wind stuff out the window, literally. And we got this weird death match between Teclis and Nagash, which was humorous and ridiculous all at the same time.
Okay. So, let's talk about... So bold move, Cotton. My answer is this. Okay?
It's too easy to go jank on both of them, right?
I mean, sometimes the easy answer is the right answer, in fact. Let me start with the things I liked out of this release.
Okay.
Okay? I'll talk about a little bit of the positive. I, too, liked Settlers Game. I thought it was a cool idea.
Yep.
I actually thought the showdown between Teclis and Nagash was very fun. I thought it was a cool god battle.
Yep.
And I think that the Wind Spirit model and the Wind Chargers or whatever, the Scenari Wind Keeper and all of them, I actually like all those models quite a bit. I think they look nice.
You like Goku on the cloud?
The little cloud mage. He's okay. He's not one of my favorites. I like the kangaroo riders. I like the wind fox as a model. I think he looks actually pretty neat. And I like sort of fox kitsune type stuff. I think it's cool look.
Literally everything I'm converting. Go ahead.
I understand. Look, it's aesthetics. I'm telling you what I like, right?
Yep.
I mean, if you don't like that, super cool. I have no issue with that at all. Aesthetics are deeply personal, right? Something either hits you and you like it or you don't. It's not really to be judged. Yeah, so that was the stuff I liked. Everything else I didn't. I think the rules in these books are overwrought and overcomplicated. I think releasing 2 books at once was utter nonsense and insane. Just completely insane. It was a super janky release strategy. To put this on the back so close of the first book and not do this all as one wave was mind-boggling. Like, and I understand that all the delays and blah blah blah. Like, I get it.
Let alone 2 releases in the same month.
Yeah, like I understand. I too remember that that there's a pandemic going on. It wasn't, still is. So it's like I understand the challenges with the initial Lumineth release and blah 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 blah. Right, but I don't care. I just don't care. It just was janky. It wasn't cool. It felt bad. The rules are in this book are just generally toxic and overwrought and overcomplicated, and it's just a bad way to design a battle tome. The most common phrase uttered in a Lumineth game is, "Hold up, wait a minute, I forgot." Okay? Because
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Right. And it like, honestly, Tom, honest answer, I hope they get a new book next year.
Well, we have to go for the hat trick.
Sure. Give them a new book in 2023 as well, or 2022. I'm sorry, as well. Yeah. And that might sound insane. Okay.
No, but just to tie it all together and fix it.
Fix it. Yes. Yeah. Like, just completely change this book. Like, I'm sorry. Like, by the way, I would love the same thing for Slanesh as well. When a book comes out and it's just bad, bin it, man, and make a new one. And sure, if that means Lumineth get 3 books in 3 years, like, okay, I guess so. But I'd rather suffer the pain of them getting a 3rd book than have to deal with this nonsense.
Right. Well, I mean, so here's my ultimate defense. It's these 2 books, I'd build an army.
Sure, which is great.
Like, that, I took largely a hobbying hiatus of over a year. And I built an army out of these 2 books and actually painted models again.
Look, and you know what? Here's what's funny about that. That's a credit to the models, which I do think, like I said, most of my positives were the models, both first release and second release, which I do think there's a lot of really well-designed, really good-looking models in this release.
Right.
That one of my club mates, one of the people who plays regularly, has not painted a model, or had not painted a model, since 1998, let's say. And when this came out, he went out and got the whole army, and he has been painting, and is still painting them, by the way.
Yep.
Like, he shows up most times we get together with new painted models. More than 20 years, and this motivated him to paint again.
Yeah.
That's pretty great, right? So I can't hate that. That's a definite positive. I think for those people who wanted high elf type aesthetics and stuff like that, that's fantastic. I'm very happy for them. I'm not going to yuck their yum, right? Yep. And I'm glad that he and others like you found stuff in here to love. That's awesome, right? I just think that ultimately, when it comes down to it, the release strategy was janky, and it overshadows everything else.
No, I hear that. I do.
That's it. Right. So.
Well, I'm thanky for it. Thanks, GW.
Sure, that's fair. And Autumn Lotus, I agree with you. Like, that's also a challenge. Like, you're not wrong, Autumn. You're completely not wrong. I want to see those people get books too. That's, I have a feeling that how I would prioritize books would look a little different than how GW would prioritize them. So, at any rate. Okay, so we were deep in March Madness with this Lumineth nonsense, right?
Yep.
And then we came into April Fools! Gotcha! Tricked you! You thought there was going to be a whole new game that we were going to do lots of expansions for and be talking about forever, and there was going to be a big online portal and an evolving narrative and story. Got him. Got him. Cursed City.
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, just... You couldn't control yourself.
I couldn't.
Yep. Tom, you want to talk about Cursed City?
The models are beautiful.
Sure.
It is truly...
Other than the zombies, which are like all the bad zombies with the tombstones on their back. But yes.
I don't care.
Sure.
Here's the deal. This makes me weep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I loved Silver Tower. Me and my kids still play Silver Tower.
Sure.
And when I saw the 40K Warhammer Quest,
Blackstone Fortress.
Blackstone Fortress, like, I just salivated because I longed for AOS to get that.
Sure. Like all these spinning out little releases every couple months for a year or two with like ongoing narratives. You know, you had like the mechanical guy who's still around from thousands of years before in the war with AI. You got a Zote. You know, you got Chaos Imperial dudes. Like all these neat things you wanted models for got wrapped up in a Blackstone Fortress.
And then Cursed City gets announced, and it's like witch hunters, and like. And a vampire pirate that's taken up residence in a city.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all the things, right? It's all the things that I wanted.
Art style, incredible. Models, incredible. Story, incredible. Right? Like, everything we wanted.
And I was like, I am ready. Let's do this. Got my copy. From one of my friends in town got his copy. We were ready. And it sits unplayed now.
Sure.
Because there's no future to it.
There's no future to it, which is a shame. Now, I shouldn't say it. There's no future with GW. Now, let me be fair to the fan community here.
Okay. So let's remind everybody what happened. Because some people are asking in the chat, like, they're just forgetting.
Sure, what happened? Okay, great. Cursed City was built up and 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 built up to be like, it was going to be amazing. By all accounts, GW ordered a ton of this. Okay? The sort of story that I've heard, and I have no way to know if this is true. Okay? Maybe this is true, maybe it's not. So please take this with a normal grain of salt. Or with a giant grain of salt. Take this with a whole salt lick. The story I had heard was that they ordered, basically they ordered about 4 times the amount of Cursed City as they had of the first run of Blackstone Fortress. Okay? Which is a lot. So they 4x'd the Blackstone Fortress order and assumed that was enough. All right?
Yeah.
And then, best guess, they had less than half of what they needed. Okay?
Yep.
And so a lot of people couldn't get their hands on it. And it was just, I mean, it was fire and brimstone on, you know, on the internet, right?
Yep.
Now, the story I've heard is that, you might say, well, why didn't they just make more? Again, the story I've heard is that because of the changes in the cost to all the components to this, because obviously a lot of this is made in China, right? The cardboard and a lot of other component pieces. Was that it was going to take at least 18 months to get another order out.
Yep.
And the cost...
Because of the logistics issues.
Because of the logistics issues that were going on because of COVID and everything else. And the cost, if they wanted to do another run, had something like tripled. because of the increases in cost of all the base stuff.
Right.
And so they just said, we're done. Wipe their hands of it. Now, that's not even to talk about the game, right? The game, I don't think, played as well as everyone hoped either. That's a whole different sort of discussion, but I think people were hoping for a different play experience out of it as well, and it didn't really meet those expectations either. So the answer was they didn't have enough, and it was going to be way too long. Realistically, there's no way they could place an order for 18 months, because that would mean if they were getting them 18 months from now, then you're talking about 22 months before they can actually get them in people's hands, right? If that story's true.
And then they have to spin up the whole marketing thing again, it's a problem.
Right. Now, I think it's ridiculous. Okay. So the question becomes then, why weren't they just transparent about it? Right? And my answer is because they were worried about what shareholders would think. I just think they got scared of what shareholders would think, of making the market skittish. They're a publicly traded company, and if they suddenly said this new killer product that we were going to make, was we can't run it, we can't meet demand, and now we're basically canceling it because our costs can't be mitigated, they were worried that their investors would get skittish.
Yep, and it raises questions for me then to the future of other products like this.
Sure. And so, that decision, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of different parties there. I wish the world wasn't like that either. The world shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
But here we are. So it was a shame. I mean, obviously, Curse City gets a janky. It just does.
I'm thanky for it.
It was the whole debacle was just challenging and frustrating and really, really, really toxic for a lot of people. There was a lot of people who overreacted, but there was a lot of people who just reacted, and their reactions were pretty reasonable. They were pretty sad and upset, right? So there you go.
Thank you for it.
Sure.
I like it. I love the models. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the changes with it will ultimately make it a cult hit. In the long run, this is going to be a major collector item.
Well, and let me say this. So that's where there is a somewhat happy ending to the story. There is a pretty big fan community around this.
Yeah.
That has continued to do expansion content and rules updates and stuff like that. And from what I understand, has done a lot of great improvements on the gameplay and put out some cool ways to expand the game. Yeah. And ultimately, I love it when fans get together and are able to do that. So that's pretty cool. I am thanky for that. As usual, I'm thanky for the community and for them stepping in to both improve the game, improve the experience, and to give people who did buy the box something to still expand and look forward to and have fun with. That's good. So there you go. Also in the month of April, though, we have a different little trickster who's playing some tricks on people. Again, the meta continues, Tom. You see how in April they tricked you twice? Both releases are about trickster things. I'm telling you, Tom, I'm going to get that board. It's going to be like Pepe Silva all up in my office because I am connecting dots here, brother. This is what it is. There is a board where they're telling two different stories at once over at GWHQ. Okay? But Be'lakor. We got Be'lakor the model and Be'lakor the book. And the whole story of Excelsius.
You know what the best thing about that book is?
What's that?
The Night Haunt section.
The Night Haunt section's cool. It really is. Honestly, so Be'lakor and the associated model for me, big thanky. Everything about it was great. Be'lakor went up in points. He stopped being just like the ultimate auto-include because he was way too cheap for his ability, which is why you bought him. The model is super cool. Talk about a glow-up. Hello. I love him. I love the new model. I actually, obviously, I have mine, and she is converted in there
Yep.
into my Slanesh Bella core, and the book was fun. The story was cool. We got the introduction that Grungy's back in there,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like there was a lot of cool beats in that story. We got the rules for like Excelsius, which was another cool city. Like Bellicor was one of my favorite books in the Broken Realms series. I really loved the interplay between Bellicor and Lady O, as you mentioned. We got the new fun Nighthaunt rules.
Yep.
So, like, Bellicor to me was a pretty big success. I'm pretty thanky for it. It's not that it's flawless. There is certainly some stuff in there I would have liked to see different, but it was a pretty great book.
Yeah, I agree. I mentioned the Nighthaunt, but the reality is that like the change to the KO triumphs was huge, giving the chemist the ability to buff in the ship once a game.
Yep.
I mean that ability itself carried my army at Nashcon. Just that ability. So I, and it helped mitigate the loss of the other good triumphs going into third edition for KO. So I mean, overall, Bellicor, it was banging on multiple cylinders. You're right. The model is wonderful, although it was quite hard to get a hold of, if you'll remember.
Sure, but I mean I'm gonna like not hold that against it because again I'm just assuming pandemic norm. It's pretty.
Sure.
You can find it now everywhere. Like the shipping is caught up, right? Sure, yes. If you wanted it like day one, yeah, it was tough, right?
Yep.
But there's now plenty of Bellicors out in the world. He's easy to get your hand on. There was, by the way, not that long after. So like I can't ask them to fix a global pandemic shipping situation. That's not. I'm not gonna hold that against them.
I mean,
Uh,
so yeah. I was thanky for this entire month.
For me, it was 50-50. I guess I was thankful for, on the bright side, I did paint basically the entire Cursed City. I gave a little bit of it away.
Yeah.
But I painted almost that whole box, and I did enjoy the models. A bunch of them became fodder for my FEC Smashpad army, which was a speed paint in a video. So I'm thank you for that. There were a lot of I still have a couple of the heroes left. I'm saving. Like I still have what's her name right there in the middle of the cover.
Yeah.
She's one of the like two heroes I have left. I have her and the priest Cleona Zitengale, whatever her name is. And I agree with MS Paul. Bellicor getting scared of Grungy was a 10 out of 10 moment. Yes, that was super
That was
great.
the White Dwarf, not Gungi, but yes.
Whatever. It does. I think it was Grungy, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Him being like, "Oh, okay, we're done," and leaving was a great moment, regardless of exactly which dwarven god / demigod / character that little Arcanaut was impersonating.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Cool.
And then
So, April showers gave way to May dead flowers. That's right. The death spawned anew in May, and all these little dead roses sprouted up, and we got the Soulblight Gravelords. I'm just going to go ahead and come out right away and say this one. This is a big thanky. I do love this book. I like all the new models we got. It's not a perfect book by far, though I do think it is one of the better designed books in all of AOS. There are problems in the rest of the meta around it that need to shift that are challenging, but I still think this is a fantastic book. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I like a lot of the stuff in it. I like all the new models. I was a huge fan of the Vengorian Lord and Luke of I like its weird half-Centroid nightmare model. I know that was very Marmite, but it hit for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, I dug basically everything to do with this book.
I mean, for me, this book did exactly what I wish other books would have done, in that it arrested the aesthetic that it nailed the aesthetic it was aiming for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I was so frustrated with other armies and how they went just a touch too weird. Like they hit that aesthetic and then went like 2 clicks farther. Where these like Soulblight Gravelords was the epitome of the um, like Castlevania esque, like ramping to 11 original vampire aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. It's exactly what I wish they would have done with other stuff.
Sure. Sure.
Oh, and it was interesting, neat models. I was sad that there weren't vampirates.
We all were. Part 2.
But,
Yes. Let's hope for Soulblight Gravelords Part 2 in late 2022 or something that brings in the vampire pirates. The dream lives on, Tom.
I know. We can always dream for the future. But other than that, I liked it. I did.
Sure. I want to Autumn, you absolutely matter. I get it with the bloodlines. I like a mix of new and old, but it was weird that they gave like the spell casting thing that you would think would be Necrarch to the wolf people. Like I don't know that I totally got that part. That would be one of what some of the things I would list about the challenges of that book would be sort of some weird allegiance choices. But again, I'm not saying it's a perfect book. Please don't think I said that. I didn't say that. But I think it's a strong book. I think it's a good book. I think it's a well-designed book.
Travis, there are vampires, if you believe.
That's true.
Them. They're real.
That's true. I saw a clear vampire army at Holy Havoc, so there you go. It was there. But yeah, I think Soulblight is, one of the most thanky items of the year, right?
Yeah.
For me.
It was a great release.
Yeah, a lot of cool kits. A lot of great glow ups. Like I think the new zombies are great. I think the new skeletons are great. Like I said, I truly do love the Vengorian Lord. Chadakar the Beast is an absolutely amazing model. So yes, there are negatives. It's not perfect, but and I also love that they gave us the weird Monster Mash army too. It's not competitive, but I always like it when they put that stuff in just to speak to me. Just to speak to me and my fellow Timmies. They're like, hey, look, you don't want the competitive army, but what you want to do is just run a bunch of big monsters. I'm like, yes, that's what I want to do, and they're like, cool, here you go, here's your thing. I'm like, thanks for my thing. That's cool. So I'm down with that. Okay. Anything else we have to say about Soulblight?
No, enjoyed it.
Big thank you. I know we had some detractors. I know CW was in the chat there, and this is not a good book for him. Not a fan of it. His old army is now sat on the shelf, and that's a shame. That's a shame. I'm sorry, buddy. That's unfortunate. It's change is always gonna. Believe me, I feel your pain. Like there are some people who really like the new Slanesh book. I'm not gonna put these two in the same level. I'm just saying, like, I get it. I know how you feel. Okay. So, then we officially begin with the with Hot Girl Summer in June. Hot Girl Summer kicks off with Kragnos. I don't have a good connection point for this one. I guess it's fine. Yeah, Kragnos. What do you think, Tom? You go.
He's fine.
Sure. Okay.
Fine. That's all I got.
Okay. Insightful commentary.
Yeah, I wasn't. The model didn't do anything for me. I don't know why he's this destruction demigod living avalanche guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And because his aesthetic didn't connect to any of the existing armies, it fell flat for me.
Okay. Fair enough. Um, now, Kragnos did give us a lot of fun stuff, though. I am thanky for what was in Kragnos. Let me just say that. Okay? Like, Kragnos himself is a weird thing that feels like he was just sort of, let's be honest with ourselves, he feels like he was stapled onto his role, what he is. Right? Like, somebody made a big giant centaur model, and then they were like, okay, Destruction God, go. Right?
No, that's not what happened. Somebody played Breath of the Wild.
Okay. I've never played this game, but sure.
Which is the Zelda Switch.
I am aware of what it is, yes.
And there's the whatever they're called at the end of that, which is Kragnos. Like, Kragnos is literally a spitting image of these ultra tough god beast characters that are all Kragnos. Like, that's what he is. And they're like, you know what, I want to sculpt that, and they sculpted it, and they're like, cool, let's make him something that's old and forgotten and ancient, just like in the game. Surprise. And I just, yeah.
Okay. So here's what I'll say. I like the Kragnos model very much. I had a lot of fun painting him. He was a super fun model. I've got somehow many destruction armies now. I have all the destruction armies except Gloomspite, which I'll probably never have. I don't know how I became a destruction player, but it happened.
You will. You'll make a squig army because you love the little. You love painting the squigs that you painted.
There's one. There he is.
Yeah, it is literally a matter of time before you're like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a death ball army.
Before I can't help myself anymore? Sure.
Right.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen.
I mean, they're adorable, and they're fun to paint. They're super expressive. You know you want a squig army.
It could happen. But anyways, I certainly picked up Kragnos. He's been overpointed his entire existence. He's never played, but he's a cool model. Kragnos did give us a lot of fun little rules updates for different armies. Remember, it did bring in and formalize all of the Gloomspite stuff, pulled them out of White Dwarfs. Maws of Jork got pulled in here. Skaven got updates, which I am super grateful for. Honestly, I would rate this a thanky based solely on its Skaven updates alone. Honest to God, Tom. You know my heart, like my deep in my dark, awful soul is the Skaven, right?
Yeah.
And it gave us cool rules for weapon teams, which I always loved. I have a ton of painted weapon teams and never any way to use them. Now I had ways to use them. It also gave us the sweet mutation updates for Hell Pit Abominations and Rat Ogres. And although Hell Pits are still garbage, even after that, dude, Rat Ogres are fun now. They're super for real, and man, can they do work, and I love them. The Skaven rules are fantastic. It's a thanky for me on the Skaven update alone. The story in this was, like, fine. It was fine. Like, it was fine.
It was fine. That is the right response. This is.
By the way, wasn't Battletoad Gothic in Be'lakor? Did we forget to mention that?
It was.
Yeah. Like, we've got to thank the Be'lakor story for also giving us Battletoad Gothic, right?
Yeah. Again, that was a double thank you month for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this. Like, some people really like Kragnos. Like, if it's a thanky, it's a 51% for me.
Fair enough. And yes, I do agree Molder still needs a massive update, but it was a patch, and it was a patch I enjoyed. I appreciate that it got a little better, because I have run my Skaven quite a number of times in 3.0, and man, do I find myself just, like, putting Rat Ogres in all the time, and just having a grand old time with them as they go ham on people. Like, I really do enjoy it. So, yeah, that's good. Raxia said, what's your opinion on Honest Wargamers FAQ wishlist for Skaven? Every Skaven army gets 4 free Doom Wheels. Raxius, I love that idea, even though it's a joke. I would love to see the Doom Wheel become good again. I have the full clip of 4 painted Doom Wheels. And, Doom Wheels back in Warhammer Fantasy days were truly a terrifying thing.
They were a missile.
as yes, they would shoot their 3 strength, potentially 10 lightning bolts through buildings, doing d6 damage. It was pretty great. And I'd love to see them be terrors on the battlefield again. But anyways, yeah, Kragnos gets a thank you for me, basically because of all the different little updates that it did. Even though Kragnos himself, like, has been underwhelming. By the way, you could fix Kragnos with the same 7 words you've fixed
the Celestin Prime.
The Celestin Prime with, yes. Autumn Lotus says, does Vince play any low tier armies? I just mentioned I played Skaven. Skaven's current win rate is like 32%. I also play Slanesh, which is not much better. Like, I tried after that Slanesh book. I mean, I've gotten in both 2.0 and 3.0. I've probably gotten in 20 games with Slanesh. That seems fair.
He has a Beast of Chaos army, too.
I do have a Beast of Chaos army. I mean, I have 20 armies. It's hard not to have most of this, right? Yep. But yeah, so I play many armies that are down in the 30 to 40% bracket. And I love my Skaven. I still play them all the time they come out. I don't care about their... Like, Slanesh both is a sucky army and has a sucky play experience. Skaven has a low win rate, and it's tough to win, but they have a very fun play experience. It's just a very challenging army to play. In the current meta, there are a lot of predators out there who are ready to, like, just beat your face in as Skaven. As a couple weeks back, I played my Skaven like 2-3 weeks ago. My Vermin Lord Deceiver teleported to 6 inches away from a regular Vampire Lord on foot. The regular guy. Like, that guy. The
You'd expect him to
5 wound dude. Okay? And this dude is swinging a neg 3 rend D3 damage weapon. And did 2 wounds to that Vampire Lord. And then died.
Hard.
So, and then the Vampire Lord walked away. So I was like, okay. I guess. Sure. I guess that's reasonable. So, at any rate. Cool. So, June. Then our Hot Girl Summer continues with July. Woo! The official launch of 3.0. Brought us Dominion. Brought us the General's Handbook. And... Tom, I went back and had to look through all the articles. As I mentioned, I looked through every article published on Warhammer Community this year, which was a heck of an endeavor for this show. And July 26th is the first article talking about the Stormcast Eternals Dragons. Now, that one was about the Krondus and Karzai.
The big boys, yep.
Yes. So... Tom, I mean, what's the thought here? I mean, this is the launch of 3.0, right? What?
I'm thanky.
Yep, super thanky.
There are aspects of the mechanics of 3.0. Like, I think as a system, it's pretty complex. We've continued down this complexity rabbit hole each edition, and I loathe the day that I have to teach my son how to play 3rd edition.
Sure.
Like, I haven't played any games with him yet, but it's like I'm not looking forward to it.
Fair enough. Like, so, I agree with you. 3.0 is on the border of too much complexity, but I'm also thanky that we got a new Path to Glory system that's real good.
Yeah.
New Path to Glory is real good. We did a whole show about it.
Yeah, the main book, by the way, is amazing. The 3rd edition collector's book that came in the Dominion box.
Yeah. Super good. Yep.
We got the splitting of the General's Handbook. Like, this is the first General's Handbook that I've ever bought that I use all of it.
Yeah. You're talking about the core book, right? Not the points, obviously, because who uses that for points? Like, they should just stop printing points in a book, of course.
But both, right? Like, it's split out, so I don't have the pages of points that I don't need anymore. And the actual, like, spiral notebook is super helpful. It's very usable.
It is.
I use all of it.
Yep, I agree. New GHB was a great format, like, super great format. Durable, easy to pack. It's wonderful. Easy to reference. I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm super thanky for both Dominion overall and the launch of 3.0 and the General's Handbook. Yes, I'd agree that there are some definite proud nails in this edition. The complexity creep is there, but I've been happy to see the two battle tomes we've got thus far have pushed more into simplicity. So you really are accessing the core rules more, which is good. Now we need to drain the complexity out of the rest of the books.
Right.
Right.
Like Lumineth.
Like Lumineth.
And.
And, the overall, I think it's a very solid edition. There are things I wish were better. There are things I wish they cut, but it's good. It's good. Solid B plus, which is great, and it is certainly my favorite. I've had more fun with this edition than with any others. So that's fair.
It is a lot more nuanced, is what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the most skill testing edition.
Yes. It's true.
Right? Like that, I think that's definitely the case. That's how you can see really top players going 4-1 and 5-0 with what are otherwise very, very, very kind of bad armies, right? I mean, that's happening because skill makes such a differential in this edition. So
yeah, we just had a 5-0 Night Hunt.
Right, exactly. I have hiccups. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know where that came from. Okay.
I'm going to do it again. No.
Yeah. So, overall, big thank you month. July was a great month. Okay. So 3.0 launches. Now, the break point of history, right?
Yeah.
That's now, now we get into post 3.0 world. Okay? All right. August. Nothing. This is the problem. And I saw some people saying, like, there's still Dominion boxes for sale. Good. Good. I don't understand people. Like, when there wasn't enough Cursed City, everyone complained. And now everybody's like, oh, there's too many Dominion boxes. I know a ton of people who've bought Dominion boxes. I'm happy they printed twice as much as what they needed out there or whatever. Good. Good. Now people will have that box as an on-road for the foreseeable future. That's a positive thing. Like, yep. It's really hard to guess exactly how many everybody in the world is going to need in the first month, right? When you're requesting the print for it 18 months beforehand. And overprinting it is clearly better than underprinting it. It also means that people who get it now probably do get it at a great discount. Right. That's a super win. Like, as a consumer, that's great. So, there you go.
But we did have Warhammer Plus.
Yes, August brings us Warhammer Plus, which... Okay.
Hey,
but did not bring us the AOS app yet.
That's true.
That didn't come until September.
That's fair. Never mind.
Yep.
I was thinking the AOS app, but yes.
I
am a Warhammer Plus subscriber, though.
Oh, congratulations. I am not. Because...
I want that War Boss.
I understand.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna go ahead and let's make our standard call. Warhammer Plus. Thank you or janky, Tom. Where are you voting?
I'm gonna be thank you for it because I like exclusive models.
Okay.
And this gives me a venue to get another Mega Boss that I couldn't have gotten otherwise. That's very Grim Gore-esque. And it gives me hope that there'll be other similar things. And I'm going to be honest, like, one of my pick of the weeks not too long ago was the Warhammer TV stuff, which comes through Warhammer Plus. Like, some of the Warhammer TV episodes. So, I'm not big 40K. I'm looking forward to Black Talon, the series, to see if it's any good. But I did watch some of the 40K animation stuff, and some of it's not terrible. So, I don't know.
Print that.
Say what?
Print that. Some of it's not terrible. That's your quote right there.
Yes. And so I am thanky for Warhammer Plus, if only because it's the first time we've ever seen them do digital content and be successful at it.
Yeah. So I'm giving it a janky. I'm sorry. I get it. I get everything you're saying, and that's all fine. But, like, these animations should just be out in the public. Like these should not be behind a paywall. I get it, but like you can build a studio. They should be using these animations, putting them out in a public way to build a big audience for them. Like be putting them on YouTube so they can be shared and build an audience, so that they can eventually entice other bigger producers to see that there's an audience there and go out and put real money behind it. Okay, like some other bigger streaming service.
With that. Like, or if at the very least they should be doing multi-platform stuff, so it's also available through like Netflix,
right,
and stuff like that.
Yes, it's just like this content strategy doesn't have the right long-term growth to it. It feels very short-term thinking.
Right.
Put these animations out somewhere where
what it's accomplishing.
Right, where people can accidentally discover them, and then and then try to build that into something, right? Because there is a lot of lore here. And by the way, streaming services are buying up everything they can to make series, especially in like the fantasy and sci-fi world. And they're picking on properties a lot smaller than Warhammer to make a lot of these series out of. So, there you go. And then we got something that's super janky, which is the Tome Celestial, the first Tome Celestial, the White Dwarf update for the Sons of Behemoth. This was the first one we saw, and it introduced us to the fact that we are now going to have grand strategies and battle tactics that are army specific as well as core battalions somehow for specific armies, even though the word core doesn't, that feels like the wrong use of that word maybe, and I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, that was janky.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
Putting this stuff into a print / I understand digital magazine in 2021 is madness to me. Madness. I understand you're trying to get updates for books out. You're not doing anything of value. Like, right. If you want to get updates for books out, then put out updates for books. Okay? Yep. Don't do this. There's so little of value in these Tome Celestials. It'll be like, oh, one new mount trait, and then also here's all this other crap that's actually bad for the game. So, there we go. Like, hardcore janky. August, janky month for me. That's what I'll say. By the way, all future Tome Celestials we're going to discuss are going to fall into the same category. Because they're just fundamentally flawed. That's the problem. It's not even evaluating the individual release. Though, hey, I like, the silly core battalions that probably shouldn't exist for Sons of Behemoth were real good. So, fine.
Yep.
All right. September. September, we got the Tome Celestial for Slaves to Darkness. Janky. We also got the Stormcast Eternals and Auric War Clans actual books, so our first 3.0 books, and this is where they launched the app for AOS. So, Tom, your take on this stuff? Yes.
Thank you for Stormcast.
Okay.
Overall, it's a great launch to that force. They're competitive in the meta. They're interesting. There's a diversity of builds. We even got named characters that aren't in Hammers. Yes, there's some stuff that needs points adjusted, but I'm thankful for the Stormcast book. It's a good book. Do you want me to go through all of it before I hand it
sure.
over?
Hit me. Just drop it on us, man.
Auric War Clans, I'm going to go with janky.
Okay.
Because either it did the wrong things for the army.
Okay. Which army?
Which is Bone Splitters.
Okay.
You talk to any Bone Splitter player and they are not happy.
Sure.
It cranked it up to not 11 but 12, which is Iron Jaws. There's a reason why Iron Jaws are performing the way they are. I think they are too efficient per point as an army. Both the cost of their units themselves and also their activations through their command point stuff. It is designed too well and too efficient. um, compared to the baseline of how other armies are functioning. Um, and then then the new
Cruel Boys.
Cruel Boys just fell flat for me.
Okay.
Like, some of the models are really nice, but just the base army itself was not interesting to me. And so that was just a non-starter. And so it's really is a mixed bag for War Clans. Like, I know that it's really good for Iron Jaws players. Like, somehow they got better in this new book. But to the point of possibly being too much better, and everybody else was either it fell flat or it got noticeably worse. And so, like, for me as a book, it's just difficult. It's difficult for me to rate anything but janky.
It's fair.
And then the app, I love the app. Like, it is like having all the points and war scrolls and books and rules and everything in one place is really, really good. Like, yes, printing off lists is a nightmare in there. I just don't do that.
Sure, of course.
But
that's what we use War Scroll Builder for. Come on now.
Sure, and like, I'd love to be able to, like, collect a small unit of war scrolls for my army or whatever together in a tight, thing that I can.
Yeah. Like the old My Battle thing you used to be able to do in the previous app. Yeah, that's the missing component. Yes.
There's some functionality that I miss, but here's the deal: everything else it's doing, I love, and it's doing it well. And so I'm not gonna poo-poo when they've actually. Yes, there could be more features, but the features they have are great.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough.
That's where I'm at. Yes, I would love to see White Dwarf rules in the app if those are going to technically be official. And I'm not even going to acknowledge Slaves to Darkness as Tome Celestial.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly janky.
That happened, and it's janky.
Right. So. Yeah. Easy. All right, Stormcast Eternals. I'm hardcore thank you for. Honestly, I love all the new Thunderstrike stuff. Obviously, it's inspired my Ratcast army led by Skig. I've had so much fun playing it, honestly. Stormcast finally feels like Stormcast, is my honest answer.
Yep.
I think they nailed it. There is still some inconsistent internal balance in there. There's still some stuff that's probably a little bit too cheap. There's still some stuff that's probably a little bit too expensive. Fine. That's all points, right? And we do have some of the concerns of mortal wound shooting still, mainly with the Raptors, who probably still need to be more expensive or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But
Fulminators are real strong.
They are, but they're also but they're also just powerful foot stomping melee guys. Yeah, with 12 wounds. Yes, I would be fine if they went up, some points. I'm not saying that. Because that right now there's kind of no decision to be made between them and the other ones, which is a shame.
Right, you just do them because they're real good.
Yeah, they but on the whole, there's a lot of usable scrolls in there. Like, when I'm making my armies, I keep using different units and trying out different stuff. Yep. And like I said,
it's a very diverse book.
Yeah, yes. Like, there's probably some points issues. Like I said, Long Strike's Fulminator's probably still a little too cheap. Super fine. I totally agree. Like, points can be adjusted. That's an easy thing. I expect that we'll probably see that in the FAQ points adjustment. I imagine we'll see those two things hit, and I would be fine with that. I still think that, like, you look down the hero list, there's a bunch of interesting heroes. You mentioned non-Hammers of Sigmar, like Gardas is really cool and really interesting in armies. Like, there's a lot of interesting different ways. I see a lot of people using both Liberators and Vindictors. So both of those have seen a lot of play, which is cool. It's to me, it's a great book. I'm not going to say it's everybody's cup of tea, but I will say that I think it's a well-designed book. The rules are very simple. They decluttered a lot of the War Scrolls, which, by the way, is how Stormcast should be. I mean, the right answer would have been to retire a bunch of the units, by the by, or combine them or something like that, but they're not going to do that because
they're
people
the
will
fighter.
Complain.
Like, this book should be the fighter class for AOS.
It should be, yes. The problem is it's like, right now it's like the fighter, but there's 70 different subclasses you can take, and you can't really tell the difference between which one is good.
They all look the same.
Right. Exactly. So that's a challenge. I mean, War Clans, look, man, I'm biased as all get out. I can't give you an honest take on this. I love my Iron Jaws to the depth of my soul. I love the new Iron Jaws book. We should immediately, in the December FAQ, by the by, unwind the neg 2 rend on pigs. That should be unwound. They're not. It's not printed in the book. They only got neg 2 rend through the FAQ that came out of the Auric FAQ, and it's stupid. It shouldn't be there. It's completely dumb. Because when the book came out, there was this really nice, interesting internal parity between the 3 core Ironjawz battle line units, right? Where the Ardboys were this interesting swamp unit that could like refill itself with rally pretty easily. The Brutes were like real nutcrackers because they had easy access to the neg 2 rend, and the pigs were speed and just kind of weight of dice, right? But they only had neg 1 rend. That was kind of the payoff, right?
Right.
And it was like, great, these all make sense as choices, you know? And IJ is a tough army because it's been very competitive recently. Like, the time of Ironjawz is upon us. They are 4-1ing and 5-0ing all over the place, right? And a lot of that is on the back of the recent changes. Neg 2 rend pigs, Bloodtooths. We're all Bloodtooths now. I made the joke when the book came out, and hey-oh. Boy, oh boy, has that come true. You know, that being said, if you wheel back that neg 2 rend, that'll actually make a huge difference to the army. I don't disagree. You could see some things go up some points. That's fine, too. I don't want to see the pigs adjusted to the proper point value for neg 2 rend, because it would be too high. It would break their role. They should just get rid of the neg 2 rend, and then still adjust them a little bit up, instead of like having to move them a lot up, which was what you should do if you keep the neg 2 rend.
Yeah.
And that actually is just disruptive to the army. Like, they're supposed to be relatively cheap fat meat. Right?
Right.
And the Cruel Boys are a mixed bag to me. There's design challenges there where you're over-incentivized on Bolt Boys. It's a lot of cool models. There are some interesting rules, but it's very much a mixed bag. Right?
Yep.
And then, obviously, the Bone Splitters is just that's an apocalypse. That's a cataclysm. Right?
So, are you really going to say the book is thanky?
Yes, because I'm completely biased to Ironjawz. Like, I cannot take that hat off, Tom. I'm sorry, but it's the only part of the book I care about. The other 2 armies can go take a long walk off of a very short pier. It's always been about the Ironjawz, who are the best. They're the biggest, which makes them the best.
3% awesome.
Correct. But it gave me everything I wanted. Like, I would be lying if I rated it janky, Tom. It has given me countless hours of fun. I'm telling you, I'm biased. I'm telling you. Okay?
I hear it. Oh, yeah, totally.
I have to be my true self. Right?
Sure. I mean, like, hey, no judgment here. I gave Lumineth a thank you this year.
Right, yeah. Sometimes things hit for you and it's hard. Like, I get it. I get all the complaints, but why would you play anything except Ironjawz? I don't understand. It's just, you picked the wrong army. I don't know what you're doing. Play the coolest army. Like, I don't know, man.
Sure.
No, like, you know, to take that hat off for just a second, right? The book has some challenges, but I do feel like they did a lot of good things in there. I think Cruel Boys need some changes to points and to battle line, and the Force becomes a lot more interesting. That's what I'll say. Right? Which can be done, by the way. Like, that's all eminently FAQable. Okay. So, yeah. That's what I'll say there. There's no saving Bone Splitters at this point. Like, it's so obvious that was just tacked on.
Why are there not the river trolls in that army?
Oh, I don't know. Why couldn't they be allied in or something? It'd be neat. Yeah, I don't know.
Like
because they're swamp people, not river people. It's different. Rivers empty into swamps.
No, those trolls live in swamps.
I mean, but it says river right there on it, Tom.
No, but like that's the old model. That's not what they are now. They're like bile gut, or I don't know what they're swamp trolls people. So they should be a multiple army thing. That's all I'm saying.
Should be.
Like, give me some trolls in that army, and I'm in.
Sure. As far as the app goes, yeah, I've enjoyed the new app. I use it all the time, like all the time, and it's easy and simple. I do not have Warhammer Plus, by the way. I just am using the regular version of it, and it's fine. I use it to reference all my war scrolls. I see all the points. It facilitates me playing the game very simply and easily. It's great. we're in the middle of a game and somebody's like, they're attacking me with a unit, or they have a unit. If I don't know exactly what that unit does, I just real quick type it in, boom, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's what it does.
There
It
we go.
gets
Fell
very
water.
easy.
Fell water Troggoths.
Sure.
Okay. That's swampy, right?
But they were river trolls originally, right?
Right. They were.
Okay.
But now they're fell water. Fell water.
I understand. That does sound more swampy. I'll give it to you. So yeah, the app is a thanky for me. I do wish they had a little way like you used to be able to do to just like not make an army, but kind of just collect, like to favorite a scroll. That's actually all I want. Like, give me the ability to click something that lets me favorite a thing, and then look at a list of favorites.
No, I agree with that.
That is the. You want my user interface feedback? Please give me a favorite button that I can turn on and off, that I can add things to a favorite and make like my little playlist of scrolls.
List of favorites.
Like, I'm not looking to build an army. I don't care. I just want my list of favorite scrolls. That's all.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, September. It's very exciting. We wake up, though, when September ends. And that leads us into October, which was nothing. Then we go back to sleep. October was just empty. I almost put nothing here because it did have the Seraphon Tome Celestial.
That's not real.
But that's basically nothing. And okay.
Yep. So more complex rules for terrain. Got it.
Yeah.
More terrain changes from books.
I played against a Salamander heavy Seraphon army this last weekend.
Yep.
Just as fun as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
It's great. It was great. I loved everybody hiding in the temple and just like and just surrounded by this porcupine of skinks and salamanders. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Janky. October, janky month.
Yep.
Alright, that brings us into November. Which gave us Red Harvest, which is kind of a Warcry thing, but it's whatever. It also those have AOS rules, so I counted it, yep. Right? And yes, Brian S said insert UHF nothing gif here. Nothing! Absolutely nothing! That's what I was going to actually put on the slide before I added that thing. It's funny. You think alike, Brian S. So Red Harvest and then the Tome Celestial for Cities of Sigmar, which is out and about now and stuff like that. So we've seen that. So hey, if you wanted your Griffin to do its best Phoenix impression, now you can. But obviously
don't make me angry. Don't make me angry.
But no Phoenix traits, and the Black Dragon trait was a miss. Obviously, like all Tome Celestials, janky. Now let's talk Red Harvest, Tom. What do you think about that bad boy?
I know you hate the terrain, but
I don't hate the terrain. I like the terrain. What are you talking about?
Well, I thought you didn't like the terrain on it.
No, I love the terrain in Red Harvest. It's like my favorite thing.
I didn't buy it, but I like the terrain.
Yeah, so this is a 2 out of 3 situation for me. With Red Harvest.
You like the terrain, you like the barbarians, you
yes.
don't like the spider people.
Yes, I just don't like spiders. I'm really creeped out by spiders. You know that.
I'm aware.
Yes. So that's a tough aesthetic to sell me on because spiders like really bother me. But 2 out of 3 ain't bad. In the words of Mars Attacks. I think this terrain is just amazing. I did pick up a copy of it. I'm gonna put together the terrain and put some just like to have it again for my normal AOS table because I think it'd be cool to have some of this to use for it. I also, by the way, Tom, the other reason I picked it up to have this terrain
Rain in Hell
is it's awesome for Rain in Hell. So you can do super great Rain in Hell boards with this. No, Tom, our display board. There's a lot of stuff in here that's super valuable for it. Remember when we were talking about you remember what we were talking about? And then I saw this and I was like, snaps. There it is.
Yep.
Yep.
That works.
It sure does. So, uh, so yeah, and I really like the barbarian models. I do want to paint them at some point in time. I have no idea when that'll happen, but they're a nice future project I can kind of always just have around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Donnie Rongo says, you must hate coming to Australia. I see multiple variety of spiders daily. I didn't really see any spiders when I was there, honest answer. Saw lots of kangaroos. They were everywhere. I did see lots of kangaroos. That's like deer over there. Only I don't see as near. I see deer in my neighborhood every so often, but I saw way more kangaroos than I ever see deer. These things are like, I don't know, just like rabbits. Like I would see rabbits in my neighborhood or squirrels. I mean, they're all over the place.
They're very big rabbits.
Just huge. They both hop. Anyways, so that was, yeah, so one thanky for Red Harvest and one janky for the Tome Celestial. That's my vote.
Yeah, I can do that. I can go thank you for the Red Harvest, even though, again, I didn't pick it up. But thanks, trying.
Well, you'll get to put some of that to use when we make the next display board for our February event, Tom.
Excellent.
All right. December. We're still. I know that's the future, but that's okay. We're not gonna. Obviously, we don't know the details on all this stuff yet. I mean, we know the details on half of this, I guess. But December brings us finally. That's right, folks. December brings us the dragons. Remember, the first article about the dragons was July 26th. Here we are, 5 months later.
Yep.
We got them, guys. We did it. We got there. Okay.
Yeah, they had to grow up, much like for.
Sure. They're hitting them with stabs of withering over there.
Yes. Yeah.
They
had to grow up.
I am very thankful for the dragons that we finally got them. It's a shame on the delay. But, you know, I get it. Like, it wasn't their choice. They didn't want to do that. It's the global shipping thing. I don't know what happened with them, but I was glad when they finally told us there. As I said earlier, I'm glad they adjusted the points before of the Dragon Riders, because we're getting both the Draconis Guard and the big boys. I like the big dragons. I think they're cool models. I like the little guys. I think they're awesome models. Yep. There we go. I'm very thankful for that. And I'm thankful Nurgle gets love, because again, it is the current oldest tome. Obviously, I despise everything Nurgle, but I'm pretty excited for this book. Obviously, I don't know what's in it.
I'm looking forward to see what's in it. I hope
it's good. Yeah, exactly. I
hope they fix summoning.
Yes, exactly. Like, my answer is, if it's done in the vein of the books we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm tilting that towards Ironjawz in the Warclans book. Right? Sure. Then I think it's going to be a super cool book. Here's my real hope, Tom. I hope it plays like Nurgle should play. That's what I want. I hope their mission statement... Because like I said, the thing that hit me about Stormcast when I play them is like, man, I really feel like Stormcast now.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, it feels like I'm like they should be, right? And I hope Nurgle gets the same treatment. I hope every book in 3.0 gets that treatment. That makes me excited for an event. Like, if we actually get books where they're doing more top-down design, where the army feels like it should, it should thematically play, instead of, like, just rando mechanics thrown in because it was super fun and weird and wacky, like turning Slaanesh into the summoning army for no reason, right? With silly locuses that don't make any sense.
Yep.
Like, that was never how these books should have been made. These books should be top down 100% as a guiding principle, make the army play like what it says on the tin, right? The way someone looks in the lore and how happy about it you are.
Yeah.
You should feel that when you then put the models on the table. So that's what I'm hoping. If that's how Nurgle plays, then I will be very thankful for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Like, and I look forward to talking about Nurgle when the book drops.
Yep, absolutely. So that's the year. This has been a rough year, Tom. There was a lot of janky, but there was also a lot of thanky. Right? By the way, Chris said Korn needs that fix the most. Right. I mean, like, almost all the Chaos books are guilty of this right now, except for Tzeentch. Right? Tzeentch is, like, the one of the 4 Chaos Gods as it stands right now. Like, pre this Nurgle book being printed. It's the one that plays exactly how you would expect it to. Like, it cheats. It's weird. It's spellcasty. It's like, yep, Tzeentch is dead on exactly what Tzeentch feels like. Khorne, Slaanesh, and current Nurgle all do not at all feel like the god they are. Not at all. Khorne is the careful ballet, ultra Johnny army of managing very tight bubbles and close synergies when it should be the book of, like, brutal, powerful, bloodthirsty heroes vying for skulls for the Skull Throne, and then throwaway nonsense that just charges in to die.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And
be a missile in that army.
Right. Slaanesh should be the ultra high movement, high damage, complete glass cannon that dances around the battlefield, running and retreating everywhere, but if they get even touched, they evaporate like water on concrete on a hot summer day. Just zoop, your unit's gone. Right? And Nurgle should be like a slow, grindy, attrition-y army, like I said weeks ago. Right? So let's all hope that's the redesigns we get. Yeah, that's the end of the year. We'll see what 2022 brings us, but, you know, my particular feeling is it's going to be a rough year as well. Like, we know there's a lot of shipping stuff going on. Those challenges are still out there. And my guess is the beginning of 2022 is going to be slow. But we'll see. We're going to do a 2022 prediction show, of course, for our New Year show. We'll get in there. We'll do our 2022 predictions. That'll be coming. We're going to wait till the end of the year for that one. But on the bright side, there is reasons for hope. These books have been good so far. Let's hope what the books that we do get are good. Adepticon's back in 2022. We'll have another big in-person reveal show there, so that'll be exciting. Can't wait to see what happens there. Same with LVO.
Yep. So,
a lot of interesting times on the horizon, but hopefully we're on the upswing, and we'll go from there. Tom, any final thoughts on the thanky or janky for the year?
You know what? I'm going to give a thanky. I'm going to give a thanky to everybody that's in the logistics industry globally right now. Because, like, we've been having all of these hiccups, and, like, you know what? I'm thankful that people are out there trying to get their jobs done and get product to us even when things are messy. So there've been a lot of, like, people frustrated and, you know, cursing the situation, but you know what? I am thankful for those that go out and get us our stuff.
Absolutely. And look, it's obviously none of those people's fault.
Right.
That's obviously the case. Those people were working very hard, probably way harder than they actually should be. Yes, I agree. That's a great shout out, Tom. Okay. Well, with that brings us to the end. Were you thanky or janky for the year? Did you disagree with any of our votes? What do you think? Put it down in the comments. Don't forget to hit like. For all those who are here in the U.S., I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you spend it with your family or your friends or your loved ones or whomever, or alone if that's what you prefer. I hope you get to eat lots of good food. I hope it's relaxing and everybody has a nice long weekend. For everybody else everywhere else in the world, I hope you have a beautiful and wonderful weekend as well. Maybe it's not a long weekend for you, but hey, maybe you get some turkey or some cranberry sauce or something like that anyways. So there you go. As I said, don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Hit all those buttons. It really helps other people find the show. We really appreciate it. It's such an easy thing to do, and it really helps other people. It really helps other people clue in to the fact that we do this every week, which I appreciate. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next Wednesday.